Hello everyone, welcome to this week's Gran Turismo 7 Daily Race and Strategy Guide, where we're off to Deep Forest Raceway in reverse and we are in the Group 3 machinery. Now this race is a copy and paste from a race over a year ago. Somebody pointed that out to me in the comments, so thank you very much for that, because I wasn't quite aware that we had done this exact race before. So we've got 14 laps to get round, time at times 7, fuel at times 2. Medium and hard tyres are available. Both compounds are mandatory, so that will essentially mean there is a mandatory pit stop. BOP is on, damage is light, it's a rolling start, and slipstream is real. I've put their settings allow brake balance, but there is actually anti-roll bars and suspension settings available in this one as well. Now, the interesting thing about this race is that the last time we did it, the tyre model changed the week after. And it does have a difference on how this race plays out compared to the last time we did it, which could well make for a fairly interesting comparison video from me later on in the week, where I'm trying to show you how this new tyre model, which is not so new anymore, but the current tyre wear model limits the strategy compared to what we used to have. But I'm not sure whether I'm going to do that video or not. But let's get to the race action. We are at Deep Forest Raceway in reverse in the Group 3 machinery. It's the 8 o'clock race here, the very first race of the week. We're in the Hyundai Genesis, or just the Genesis, I don't know what it's called, a Genesis X it's called, something along those lines. And we are in a field of Porsches and TCR drivers. Now there is some other cars out there. I can see an Audi up there, there is a Supra there I think, there's some McLarens, but at least half the field I reckon we're in the Porsche. So maybe somebody has some intel on why that is the car to race here. Now, if you remember watching me do this race last time it was on, and we were live streaming it, I had profound trouble with that hairpin, and on the opening lap there we're going to have a little bit of trouble exiting that hairpin, which is going to allow got max power in the Porsche to get down the inside of us into the braking zone at the end of the back straight. Quite hard to out-traction a Porsche in the best of circumstances, but when you make a mess of the corner you don't give yourself too much of a chance. Now, Obadi's there in the 4GT race car has gone wide, which allowed us to make up a position into P13, and max power there has picked up a half-second penalty. Now, as we come on to the main straight here, once again we have Obadi's in that 4GT. Now, last time we did this race, not necessarily in reverse, but certainly when we were doing it the normal direction, the 4GT was absolutely dominant because it was just so much faster than anything else in a straight line. Now, it's definitely still faster than pretty much everything else in a straight line at this track, but it certainly doesn't have the same advantage. Now, Baddies is going to get alongside us up into the braking zone here. We did have a little bit of slipstream, of course, as well, but it could be a problem if that car becomes the dominant one, or like that goes to the top leaderboards and everybody starts using it, because it'll mean you're pretty much helpless on the straights in any other car other than it. But hopefully this race doesn't manifest to become a 4GT one make. I think it'll be much more interesting because it looks like a lot of other cars can be competitive with each other. Now, I'm not saying it's the fastest car around the track, it just has an advantage down the straight, which makes it very difficult to race. And as we jump forward here to lap 4, you're going to see Obadi's has got in front of us, having just powered past us on the main straight when we lost a little bit of slipstream to Got Max Power, who has caught up with TCR Shelty, and I'm going to take this opportunity as they start to fight to peel off into the pits. Now, do be careful of that white line, it comes up very quickly as you exit the last corner, and we're going to jump into the pits here and put on a new set of fresh medium tyres, coming off our hard tyres here at the end of lap 4. Now, I had no real idea just how long the medium tyres would last doing this race, but I did think they would go a good distance of the race even before the race started. So I pitted here at the end of lap 4. I did have an inclination I probably could have pitted a little bit earlier, but yeah, we'll soon see how much tyres we've got left towards the end of this one. Your pit loss though is going to come in at just under 16 seconds. I think it's 15.8 in total, which is a fairly short pit stop, so bear that in mind. If you're maybe pitting from the front of the pack, you could be and amongst some of the cars at the back of the grid if you're pitting early into the race. Just something to bear in mind. So as the pit stops have started to be taken, some people coming in lap 5, some people coming in on lap 6 off the hard tyres onto the mediums. We have indeed jumped in front of Got Max Power, Shelty and O'Baddies, and we actually came fairly close to passing Tidgeney, who pitted 1 lap later than us. The medium tyres have a massive advantage over the hard tyres here, so the undercut is very powerful indeed. I reckon the medium tyres have got about 1.2, 1.3, maybe even as much as 1.5 seconds over those hard tyres, so you can get a big undercut if you pit a little bit earlier. But we'll talk about the strategy options at the end of the video. So we're jumping forward here to lap 11, and we have caught up to this gaggle of cars. Now one of them is going to serve a penalty, and we're getting held up there through the hairpin. I think the French driver is on the hard tyres. Now we're probably a little bit too kind to this driver through the middle sector, and has allowed Got Max Power to catch up completely to us. We were 2 seconds ahead of Got Max Power at one point, but he was catching me, and then we've lost all that time as we caught up with the traffic. We go down the inside of the Porsche here, hopefully looking to get that move completed. We just got a bit of a tank slapper though exiting the last corner. Had like weird understeer in the initial part of the corner, and then if you tried to go in the power too early in this car, you get a bit of oversteer. So that last corner was proving to be pretty tricky on this one, and it's allowed the French driver in the Porsche and Got Max Power for us to go 3 wide up into the hairpin here. I back out of it, and then there's a little bit of contact between the two Porsches. We go round the outside of the French driver. I'm really struggling to get the car stopped. If I went over that white line, I would pick up a half-second penalty. We just about keep it in the boundaries of the track, but we've got Max immediately alongside us to our right hand side. It's a drag race down here to the tight right-hander at the end of the back straight. It's going to be a little bit of a test on the brakes. Now I do try to brake late here to try to go round the outside, but Max brakes even later and blocks that move off before we can turn into the corner, and that is into P7. Honestly, I actually let Max just get past because I wanted to get a P7. However, other things were to come into play, and P7 was not where we were going to end up. Now, I think there's a bit of an instant up ahead here because Blue Racer ends up in the wall, and we've got a Porsche up there as well with a 1.5 second penalty, and we very smoothly transition to the last lap here up into P5 with Blue Racer spinning. The Polish driver served the penalty, and Max gets a little bit of, not karma, but that's what you get for showing off to the fans, Max. And that moves us up into P4. He knew he was going to be in the video, didn't he? He loves to show off in front of us YouTubers and get some sideways action in that Porsche. But yeah, really fun race. I really enjoyed that one. Great length of race as well. 20 minutes 50 seconds for the winner, so well over 20 minutes for Daily Race C. Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed that race. One of the most enjoyable races I have done recent times, so thank you to the drivers that I was on the grid with there. But let's talk about the strategy options in this one then. So we have your optimal strategies as if you start on the medium tyres, you're going to do 10 to 12 laps, and you're going to do 2 to 4 laps on the hard tyres. If you start on the hard tyres, you can do 2 to 4 laps on the hard tyres, and then 10 to 12 laps on the mediums. And if you're looking to do an undercut strategy, you'll just do 1 lap on the hard tyres and 13 on the medium. If you've seen my tyres at the end of the race, and I meant to point it out, but I can go and take a wee look back, you can see I could easily have done an additional 3 laps with the Genesis. Now, I wasn't able to check the replay to see how some of the MR cars were doing, so it might be a little bit different on the rear tyres for them. But I think, yeah, roughly this is what your strategies are going to be as the week progresses. A lot of people are going to kind of, you're going to see a lot of people doing a lot of laps on the medium tyres, because the way the tyre wear model works at the moment is that around a 75% worn medium tyre will still outperform a fresh hard tyre, so that kind of very much limits the strategy. But I'll maybe do a comparison video between this race now and this race when we did that a year ago under the old tyre wear model, to give you a sort of insight as into how the strategy has started to be limited. But overall though, this is a fun race. I know it's a rinse and repeat, but it is good fun. Hopefully that Ford GT doesn't become the meta car, because that could ruin it a little bit. It could make the racing a little bit awkward and difficult. If it doesn't become the meta car, then there should be other cars, or a good selection of cars available in this one. But overall, yeah, I think it's a good race. I think it's good fun. We'll definitely live stream it a couple of times over the course of the week, so do join me for that if you can. I appreciate you watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Goodbye now.